Joyce, what are you reading?
I'm reading the online textbook. It's August now, and I think as a teacher, I should start to prepare for back to school. So I'm reading the online textbook and designing my lesson plans for the coming semester.
Wow, you are such a hard-working teacher. Can I join you?
Of course. But actually, now I have difficulty concentrating on my textbook.
Why? What's wrong?
I'm starving now. I haven't had anything for breakfast yet.
Poor you. Breakfast is an important meal of the day. Besides, having a balanced breakfast helps to level up your energy and improve your concentration and productivity.
I know, but ever since the nationwide Level 3 epidemic alert, I started to cook every meal for myself, which is a tragedy. Now, I really miss those fine breakfasts in the coffee shops and the breakfast joints.
Me too. I'll never forget the breakfasts I had in Turkey.
Wait, Turkey? Breakfast in Turkey?
Yes, it said that there are three major kinds of cuisines in the world: Turkish, Chinese, and French. Fully justifying its reputation, Turkish cuisine is always a pleasant surprise for the visitor, especially their breakfasts.
Turkish breakfast? That's new to me.
Turkish cuisine can't be discussed without paying special attention to the Turkish breakfast. It's a truly unique start to the day. With a lineup of tastes all its own, most Turkish folks begin their morning just like the rest of the world. They wake up, get ready for their day, send their kids off to school, and of course, have their first meal.
Wait, that's nothing special. Pretty much the same as people in Taiwan do.
Yes, but the similarity stops here. Breakfast in Turkey is not just a necessity, it's a traditional family gathering. Breakfast is the biggest meal in Turkey. Turkish families always start with a strong breakfast of varied but simple products.
That's really quite a big difference in food culture between Turkey and Taiwan. In Taiwan, the biggest meal is dinner, and that's when most families get together. Then, what do the Turkish have for their grand breakfasts?
That's called kahvaltı, which means before coffee. It's the Turkish word for breakfast. A typical Turkish breakfast consists of fresh cheeses like feta and kashkaval, black and green olives, fresh baked white bread, fruit preserves, honey, sweet butter, and plenty of brewed black tea served in Turkish tea glasses.
That sounds like a feast.
Not yet. If you have guests, more elaborate selections are offered, such as hard-boiled eggs, as well as omelets, chunks of sesame baked, haba, cut and peeled tomatoes, cucumber, sweet peppers, and a variation of homemade phyllo dough and a cheese pastry called borek. During the winter months, soup is also a common staple for breakfast in many homes.
What a meal. Jennifer, can you see my mouth is watering?
Haha! There is one more, Joyce.
One more?
The drinks. Drinks comes last. They drink tea before breakfast and then Turkish coffee. Because Turkish coffee is strong. It's not drunk when hungry and something must be eaten first.
中文有句俗谚叫做"民以食为天"，英文则有 "A hungry man is an angry man"， 饥饿的人易发怒的谚语，可见饮食的重要性。作为一整天开头的早餐，当然更是不能马虎。在这段课程中 ，Joyce 及 Jennifer 讨论了土耳其的早餐。Jennifer 是这样介绍的 ：Breakfast in Turkey is not just a necessity, it is a traditional family gathering. 因此，土耳其人重视与家人一起共度早餐的时光，而早餐某种程度上也反映出土耳其人的家庭观念。除此之外 ，Jennifer 又说了 ，Breakfast is the biggest meal in Turkey. 到底是多丰富呢？ A typical Turkish breakfast consists of fresh cheeses like feta and kashkaval, black and green olives, fresh baked white bread, fruit preserves, sweet butter, plenty of brewed black tea served in Turkish tea glasses. 实在是很丰盛，难怪 Joyce 的反应是 What a meal！ 叹为观止的一餐。饱餐一顿后，再来上一杯 Turkish coffee。为什么土耳其人要餐后才喝咖啡呢 ？Jennifer 的介绍中其实有以下的解释：The Turkish coffee is strong, so people don't drink it when hungry. 在台湾，假爸爸是一种打招呼的方式，所以下段课程中 ，Joyce 即将介绍台湾早餐。各位同学们可以猜猜看有哪些食物即将登场哦。
Jennifer, the Turkish breakfast is really impressive. I really can't wait to fly to Turkey and enjoy an exquisite and relaxing typical Turkish breakfast. But since we are not allowed to go abroad now, let's find some local Taiwanese breakfast to eat.
That's a good idea. What's your first choice?
My first choice? Okay, I'd like a fried breadstick with sesame flatbread and a bowl of salted soy milk. 烧饼油条加咸豆浆。The crispy deep fried breadstick and the thick crispy layer and the soft center of the sesame flatbread are perfect together. And having them dipped in a bowl of salted soy milk makes them even more delicious.
You bet. Anything else?
Anything? Of course. Taiwanese egg pancakes. Some may call them egg crepes or egg wraps. 蛋饼. Actually, this delicious savory crepe is a perfect way to tell if a store is great or just an average Joe.
Haha! I like dumping, but I don't know it can be used to rank a breakfast store. Joyce, you sound like a foodie.
I am. And one more traditional breakfast I like is turnip cake, 萝卜糕, which is also a popular food in Hong Kong. The Taiwanese version of turnip cake or radish cake is a little different. It's commonly eaten as a breakfast food, pan-fried until crispy and covered with a savory sauce. Sometimes I would order it with an egg on the side to complete this delicious and cheap breakfast snack.
Yes. That's also what I usually do. 萝卜糕 with an egg. But my favorite breakfast is rice rolls. 饭团. The white sticky rice is firmly wrapped and stuffed with the standard ingredients of pickled radish and mustard greens, chunks of braised egg, a bit of pork floss, and a crispy cruller. I love it. And having it with a cup of sugar-free soy milk. So tasty.
Yes, tasty. But instead of simply talking about this delicious breakfast, can we just go out and buy some? I'm really starving to death.
Sure, let's go.
在这段课程中 ，Joyce 介绍了台湾的早餐，像是 fried breadstick with sesame flatbread 烧饼油条 ，salted soy milk 咸豆浆 ，egg crepes or egg wraps 蛋饼 ，turnip cake 萝卜糕 ，rice rolls 饭团，这些都是台式早餐的代表，简单、快速、有饱足感。这其实也是跟文化有关。早期台湾是农业社会，日出而作，日落而息。而早上的时间是跟老天爷在赛跑，所以早餐尽可能不要太繁复。但到了晚上，务农的人回来，全家一起共度晚餐，饮食的重头戏才要登场。So foodies, is there anything special about your breakfast? How would you introduce it? Please leave a comment below and let us know what you think. 我们下次见喽。
Hi, I'm Brent. Let's recap this conversation. This scene starts out with Joyce sitting on the sofa reading a textbook. Jennifer asks what Joyce is doing. Joyce is saying that she's preparing for the upcoming school year because it's August now and school will be starting in September. She's reading the material and designing her lesson plans for the upcoming school year. Jennifer appraises Joyce's hard work and asks her if she can join her. Joyce agrees and confesses to Jennifer that she's actually having a hard time understanding the textbook. Jennifer asks what's wrong. Joyce says that she hasn't had breakfast yet. Jennifer feels sympathetic towards Joyce and says how eating breakfast will make her more productive and better at work. Joyce agrees. However, she mentions that since the coronavirus lockdown, Jennifer feels sympathetic towards Joyce and says how eating breakfast will make her more productive and better at work. Joyce agrees. However, she mentions that since the coronavirus lockdown, she has had to cook for herself, and her cooking is not as good compared to the local restaurants and cafes. Jennifer then says how she will never forget the breakfast she had in the country of Turkey. Joyce is shocked at the fact that she thinks Turkish breakfasts are good. Jennifer then proceeds to tell her that there are 3 major kinds of food in the world: Turkish, Chinese, and French. Joyce has never heard of Turkish breakfasts. Jennifer then proceeds to describe the Turkish breakfast in detail. Joyce thinks that it's the same as how Taiwanese people eat breakfast. Jennifer then says how in Turkey, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Joyce says how in Taiwan, dinner is the most important meal of the day. Then Jennifer explains all of the foods that they eat for breakfast. Joyce thinks that sounds like a lot of food. After that, Jennifer says how every meal might be different depending on who is eating. Joyce then says how her mouth is watering, meaning that she is hungry. Jennifer has one more addition to her Turkish meal. She says how the drinks come last and they usually have tea or Turkish coffee, and explains that Turkish coffee is strong and you should not drink it when you're hungry. You should eat something before drinking Turkish coffee. And then Joyce says how she's impressed with the Turkish breakfast. She really wants to go to Turkey and have a Turkish breakfast, but they're not allowed to fly due to COVID-19. So they decide to go to a local breakfast shop for some Taiwanese breakfast. Jennifer asks where she wants to go. Joyce explains the type of food that she wants to eat. Jennifer asks if there is anything else that she wants to eat. Joyce says there are more, and she lists some more Taiwanese foods, including dan bing. Then Joyce proceeds to describe a dan bing. Joyce says that you can really tell how good a breakfast shop is by the taste of their dan bing. Jennifer says how she does like dan bing, but she doesn't agree that you can judge a breakfast shop based on this dish. Jennifer thinks that Joyce should be a foodie, which is someone who really enjoys new foods and foods in general. Joyce then proceeds to tell Jennifer how she likes more traditional breakfasts, like lo bo gao. This dish is also popular in Hong Kong, and it is also eaten at breakfast. Jennifer then explains what kind of food she likes to eat for breakfast. Joyce then says, instead of talking about all this delicious food, they should go and eat some. Jennifer agrees. How about you? Which breakfast would you choose? Turkish kahvaltı or Taiwanese danbing? I'm Brent. See you next time. Bye.